Hello and welcome to today's result sheet training session. This format today is really to give you an overview of result sheet on how it all hangs together, and then to give a demonstration of how to manage events, as well as taking a look at the new event series and club page functionality. So the agenda for today is, firstly, we'll take a look at why live results are important, and then we'll give you the overview of result sheet and then move on to the demonstration. So time trialing itself has actually come quite a long way in the last few years in terms of live results. Historically, a lot of results have been collated manually at events and then either taken a few days to publish back up to the various results websites, or they are handwritten up onto whiteboards and flip charts at events, which obviously creates quite a lot of stress for organisers during the event. But the rider expectations have actually increased for events results, and they, given things like Strava and the prolific amount of data that's available for people's rides, people would like to see the result that they have achieved in their event pretty much once they've finished, and also being able to compare themselves with their peers very quickly. If you wait for a few days after the event to publish your results, then people tend to move on and it becomes sort of less important. The other interesting side of this is that the experience of having live results at events actually increases the experience for riders, which makes them more inclined to ride more events, which is obviously good for everybody. And when live results first came out a few years ago, there was a bit of a worry that people would finish their event, look at the results on their phone, and then go home. But actually, what's proven to be the case is the reverse. So people finish their ride, may check their result on their phone, but then move back into the headquarters where maybe the results are being displayed on a wall, something like that, and actually then start to have a discussion about how their ride went with their peers. So the level of banter that is occurring at these events actually increases as a result of the live events, which is obviously great. The second part of this is actually reducing admin for event organisers. So organising an event is obviously quite stressful. It's quite a lot to do, and anything that we can do to help reduce the amount of admin involved in that is obviously quite important. So really it comes from a few different places. The first is that you can resolve any queries related to results on the day. So a rider that comes in, finishes their race, and then has a look at their result. If they've got a question about it, they can actually discuss that with the organizer or timekeeper there and then. And then if their query is correct and the time as recorded is not necessarily correct, you can actually change that there and then before the event is finished. So what that means is you don't get the communication that happens once an event is over, where you have sort of late night phone calls and emails from riders who are querying their times. That obviously makes things easy for organisers. The second part of this is actually when people have implemented live results in the past, you would tend to have someone that helps with the timekeeper. So maybe they're looking at the result page that the timekeeper is filling in as the event is running. They take a photo of that and maybe WhatsApp it to someone back at HQ, who then has to key it into a spreadsheet. Having a proper live result system removes the need to do that, so that once results are entered at source, so typically by someone helping the timekeeper, then those can then be streamed to wherever they are being displayed. So it actually removes the need for rekeying at HQ, and which is obviously removes the errors and also means you need one less person. So being more efficient with your volunteers, which as we all know is quite hard to come by, is obviously a good thing. In terms of taking pressure off the organizer once the event is finished, so being able to automatically calculate overall placings, achievement to things like VTTA standard and age adjusted times, and obviously age group calculations are all important. So you can actually give prize giving if you have prize giving at your event there and then, without having to frantically play around with a spreadsheet or do some calculations on a pad to try and work out who's won what. So being able to automatically have those things calculated for you is a is a big benefit. And lastly, once the event is over and if you're running opens, you need to send the results back to the CTT. Being able to essentially create an export of the results and then send that back to the CTT without needing to rekey anything is obviously a big benefit. So the reduction of admin for events is obviously quite key when event organisers have already got plenty of things to do. And the last bit is really about generating awareness for events, especially for people that aren't necessarily there. So obviously with a live results platform, if the results are being streamed to a place online that people can view regardless of their location, you get the capability to watch the results come in from afar. So we've had stories of people sitting on holiday on the beach actually watching their club TT results come in, which is obviously quite amusing. So what this means is that the audience that is accessing time trialing as a sport is actually broader than the people who are actually just at the events, which obviously helps promote the sport to a wider audience longer term, which is obviously good for everybody. And also being able to push out a link via things like social media, both in the lead up to the event and during the event as well, helps generate additional awareness. Some of the events that are run through ResultSheet actually have had sort of 3,000 to 5,000 views. They're quite big, some of these, which is obviously great for sport promotion. In terms of how the platform is held together, there's a few moving parts to ResultSheet. So really starting on the left, the desktop piece, ResultSheet runs in a web browser, so you don't need to install anything on your desktop or phone. But when you run it on a laptop or a computer, typically people do that to set up the events in advance. So you would set up your event, and if you're running an open, you would then pull in the start sheet once you finalize that. If you are running a club event, then you would still set up the event typically in advance and then do sign on the line as people are coming in. And then the mobile web app at the top, what that does is enable people to record times of the event once it's up and running. So that typically would be someone sitting alongside the timekeeper who's normally doing, their job doesn't change too much, so they are recording things with things like stopwatches, and then the person who's helping them would then enter the times into ResultSheet using the ResultSheet mobile web app. And then on the right hand side where you've got HQ results, that is typically the report which is being projected at HQ, maybe onto a wall or maybe onto a larger screen, so that you can have a real-time feed of results as they come in. And then the results on mobile is obviously people being able to access those on their phone. So the way the mobile view tends to get used is riders would check their phone once they finish their ride, but then quite often if they go into HQ and you've got the HQ results running on a screen or a projector, the results offer additional functionality to allow you to sort of filter down onto various combinations of things like who won my age group or who run the road bike, who won the TT, that type of thing, while the main report is just showing the live results as they stream it. So the skills required to run ResultSheet are not great actually. For event creation, it's basically laptop skills. You're just using the ResultSheet app. Results is literally entry into a mobile app, and then the HQ results are normally just basic IT or laptop skills. So that really boils down to, can I get a connection to the internet at HQ, which is normally done via either a Wi-Fi capability at the HQ you're using, or alternatively tethering your mobile phone to the laptop so you can get the streaming working. So both of those are pretty straightforward. So in terms of the three types of setup we would normally see, it really depends on the capabilities of the HQ that you're using. So the bronze, so the one on the left, is if you think about someone running a start sheet with no HQ, so maybe running it from a lay-by, all that they really need to run the event is the QR code to the event itself, which they normally print out put on the sign-on table, and then a mobile phone to enter the results. So you can really do it without any sort of IT equipment at all, really, and still achieve the same thing. So what you're doing is you're using the phone to enter the results, then the riders are using the phone to view the results. the silver, where you've got the limited HQ. So if you think about a smaller HQ where there is no projection facilities, but maybe you can put a laptop screen or a smaller screen into one part of the HQ, that's really what that's for. So again, you would print off your QR code, put it on the sign-on table. The mobile phone is used to enter the results, but then you would have a laptop connected to a sort of small screen running an HQ for the live streaming of the results as they come in. And then the gold is really the larger HQ where you have projection facilities. So pretty much like silver, except instead of plugging the laptop into a sort of small screen, you would plug it into a projector and then project that onto the wall for a sort of more immersive experience. Okay, so onto the demonstration. Okay, so what we are looking at is a demonstration version of ResultSheet. And what I've done here is I've created a couple of events for the purposes of the training. So one is a demonstration CTT event and one is a demonstration club event. So if I bring up the CTT event and I click Edit Event, so I've already created this event, so I will just run through the fields on here very quickly so you know what information is required when you create them. So you obviously give the event a name, you set a time and a date, set the distance and the course code and the further information link. If you are running an open, then what this will do is the further information link will automatically populate with the link to the event on the CTT website when you upload the start sheet. If you have put in a different link there, that link can be whatever you like. So if you have details about the event to your club website, for example, you may want to put those in there. You can enter an HQ address. You can have multiple competitions within each event, and there's further information about that on the website. And then you've got various bits of contact information associated with the event. The last bit of information is really about who can enter and view the event itself. So you have a promoting club, which is the club that's actually promoting the event, and then you have an event manager and an event timekeeper. So when an event is set up, you have the concept of someone, an event creator, who can actually manage the event as well. They can actually assign someone else to be the manager, which means they can edit and manage the start sheet as well as enter times. And they can also assign a separate timekeeper, and that person can only enter times specific to that event. So each of those people would need a ResultSheet login, and then the event manager or the event creator would then assign the various people to their various roles. That means that they would only get access to the various pieces of functionality specific to the role at that particular event. The last part on here is to do with how you enter the times. You can enter the times in two ways. You can actually enter their actual time. So if a rider has done 21:50 for a 10 and that's their time and you set it as actual time, you would enter 21:50. The watch time is based on entering the details on the stopwatch itself. So if you use stopwatches and you synchronize them at the start, you can enter the time that is on the watch itself, and then ResultSheet will then work out based on what rider number that rider has and what is on the watch at the time. It will then work out their actual time. So if I click cancel on that, we get taken back to the menu for the event. And what I'll now do is I will upload a start sheet. So this is an open, so it contains ResultSheet has a real-time link to the CTT website. So if I click on manage start sheet, because the start sheet is blank, it's giving me a couple of options, which is upload from the CTT website or uploading using a file, and we'll cover using a file in a minute. So if I select upload from CTT website, what that will do is it gives me a list of events that are running or open events that are running on the same day as your event. So I happen to know that this Lee Valley one here has results which are worth looking at. So I will then assign them to the overall competition. We can see that the upload start sheet button has turned blue, which means I can now select it. And then if I then click upload, it will now show me the progress of uploading it. Depending on how long your start sheet is, it can take a few minutes to actually upload it. What's actually happening behind the scenes here is that ResultSheet is talking to the CTT website to get the riders for that event, and it's also talking to spin data as well to get the spin data predictions if you have those for your event, and it's also working out the VTTA age-adjusted times for each of the riders based on how old they are on the day. So there's a few things going on and being cross-checked here, which is why it takes a few moments to do that. But then once the start sheet is uploaded, then we'll be able to see the updates coming in, and we'll have a look at what the results would look like on the page. So we'll just give that a moment to finish, and then we'll be taken to the manage start sheet page with the riders for that event. Okay, so we can see that the riders have now been imported from the CTT website, and we can just see that it's finally updating the various machine types. So we can see that the process of getting the start sheet in is all automatic. When you are running an open event, if there are changes to your start sheet, you can change them inside ResultSheet if you want to. But depending on how far in advance your event is, it might be good practice to resubmit your start sheet back to the CTT and then import it again back into ResultSheet. So depending on how much time you've got available, you think about for opens that the CTT has the master start sheet, and then you pull that down into ResultSheet as part of the setup for the event. So what I'll now do, if I go back to the main menu for this event, if I just click the header at the top here, so it's a shortcut that will take me back to the menu. And if we then have a look at the result sheet, it will take me to the view that you would show at an event. So we can see that all the riders have come in. There's no results against each of the riders, so they are currently just sitting in rider order. We can see what machine type they're running on. It's given an age category based on their age on day and whether they are open or female. And then if I scroll down, you can see the rest. So there's a few things on here which are can be used to configure the event. If I look at the bike type, so these are filters which will hide the type of bike that you have not selected. So if I select TT bike, you can see that all the road bikes have disappeared. If I select road bike, you can see that all the TT bikes disappear. If I select the top again, it will show me the consolidated view. So you can, these filters also respect the real-time results. So if you wanted to show a real-time road bike only result, then you would just select road bikes from the filter and leave it. Alternatively, if you've got a really big HQ and the ability to have multiple screens, then you could have the TT bikes on one page and then open exactly the same view on another page and just select that for road bikes, and then you'd have both running in parallel. So there's various quite a lot of flexibility there. In terms of the middle filter, this is showing what you're viewing. So at the moment we are viewing actual, so times on actual result. We can view spin data prediction. So because there aren't any results entered yet, it's going to give us the prediction on the day, and that's quite useful because in advance you can see what the predicted finish is. If as a organizer you start to get people withdrawing from the event ahead of time, if you add the riders in as a DNS or DNSA in the lead up to the event, the spin data prediction functionality in here will respect that, so it will start to take out riders and update the appropriate finish order accordingly. And then the other options on here are VTTA standards, and you can do members only, VTTA members only, and then you've got age adjusted time and age adjusted time for members only as well, but we won't go into those because there aren't any results in here yet. So if I put that back to actual, and the competition filter, there's more about the competitions on here on the website, but that is the ability to run multiple sort of sub competitions within the same event. So the prime example of that is tandems. So if you have an event where you have a tandem component in there as well, you can import the solo riders as one competition, and then you would set up a tandem competition and import the tandem start sheet as well, and that would then give you the ability to only show solo riders, only show tandems, etc. On the day. The QR code in the bottom right corner, so this is the code that riders can point their phone at, which will then take them directly to the mobile view for that event. What is also useful to do is when in the lead up to the event, if you just click the mobile QR code there, it brings up a bigger view, and that is useful to print and put on your sign-on table, so that when people are signing on, they can literally point their phone at the QR code you printed out, and it will also take them to the results. It will put, if you've got your club logo uploaded into ResultSheet, it will put your club logo into the middle of the QR code as well, so that they can have a nice little touch. Lastly, there's a few options on here to configure the report. So I click the configure button, so I can hide and show the QR code. I can consolidate the results, which at the moment you can see that it's in two columns. You've got open and female columns. If you consolidate the results, they will actually then bring that into one. Both columns will be used for the same start order, which is what will happen also if you have only one classification event. So if you're running a open only event, both columns will be used for open. If you're running a female only event, both columns will be used for female. If you're running an open and female event, but you want to consolidate them, that's what that option is for. And the auto scroll is for larger fields. So if your start sheet runs off the bottom of your screen, as if you select auto scroll, it will refresh the page and scroll down to the additional results that are coming in on a regular basis. So think about it starting at the top, scrolling down to the bottom of the riders with results, and then it will then go back to the top again. So it's a way of being able to, if your screen isn't very large, to be able to leave it running, and it will just scroll through the whole results without you having to touch it. Okay, so if I just look at what one of these events looks like with the results populated. So here's one from the event last weekend. We can see we're looking at the same report for the Hereford Wheelers Open 25, but this one has got results in. So you can see that what's happened is that it's now ordering them based on actual time, and the Jake Sargent was the fastest rider, so he's at the top, etc. And it orders it both on open and female. If I wanted to see the result for road bikes only, it would give me the road bike only view, same for TT bikes, or I can have everybody as well. If I wanted to look at results on, let's use VTTA age adjusted time, just use an example of that, we can see that view has changed. So it's got the actual result in the result column, and then it's on the age adjusted time. So we can see that Cliff Fowler actually won the event for opens, and Linda Dewhurst won the event on age adjusted time for females. So what I'll do now is I will now move back to the demo system, and we'll go back to the main menu, and I'm going to close that one down and now look at club events. So if I bring up the club event option, so again, I've created this beforehand, but the event is setting up a club event or an open event in ResultSheet is exactly the same. So the fields are all the same. So what we'll do is we will import a start sheet for this one, but because it's a club event, it won't be on the CTT website in the same way. So we'll use a file to import it. So if I select Manage Start Sheet, I'm presented with the same options again. And then if I select Upload using File, this is the file upload screen. So From here, if you haven't uploaded a file before, you can download a template, which will download an Excel spreadsheet, which you can then use as the template to get your start sheet into the right format. But I've actually already created one, so if I just select the file, so it's a result sheet training, and start sheet import, and click open. Again, I can associate it with the competition if I want to, and I can give it a CTT event ID as well. That's really a backup in case the automatic import isn't working for any reason. And then you click upload. And what's happening now is this event has got 20 riders in, so you can see that it's counting me through each rider as it's being uploaded, and you should be able to see in the background as well as the riders are coming in. So if we just give that a few moments to finish. Okay, so the riders have now finished. So just a couple of points worth noting on there. That upload page will also give a warning if there are any riders with missing data. So if it's age on data, bike type, or classification information, it will give a little warning in red there. It will still allow the upload to complete. Because sometimes, depending on how you run your club events, you may not have access to all the data at the time, but you still want to use ResultSheet for the event. But it'll just give a little warning there, so you can note it. From this page, you can notice at the top, you can also enter, where it says add rider, you can manually enter riders on this page as well. So if you are running a sign on the line event, and you're adding riders as they arrive and sign on, then you would create the event in the usual way. You go to this page, which would start as blank, and then you would manually enter the riders across the top, in which case they would appear in the same way on the start sheet. So if we just take a look at the start sheet, so it's the results page, just have a quick look. Okay, so we can see those, and if we just have a quick look at how that looks when results are coming in. So what you can't see is I've got my phone running as if I'm a timekeeper helper, just to enter the results, and I'm staring at the same event. So if I start to put some numbers in here, so if I say Jason Ward has done a 21:21, and I click the save button on my phone, we can see that Jason flashes green, and then in comes 21:21. If we do the same for Nadia, let's say she did a good ride, she did 22 dead. Then we can see Nadia come in as well. If Simon comes in, and let's say Simon has done a 19, so he's had a great ride, so 19, let's say 19:57. And what we'll see is Simon has come in and he moves to the top because he's then the fastest rider, and also then flashes green. If we take, let's say, Joe, so as a rider number 7, if we say she's a DNF, just to show you what that looks like. So that will flash red and move to the bottom. So as the times are entered on the phone, or you can actually use a laptop to enter the times as well if you want to, then this is the experience that will be shown at HQ. So it kind of gives this sort of interactive feel as the events, the results are coming in back at HQ. So if I was to go back to the menu for that club, if we just to show you what the event export results looks like. So there's an option here for export results. If I just click that, and then what I'll do is I'll just export this as a club event, obviously. So if I was to export it in CTT format, the process is exactly the same, but the file it creates will be in the format expected by the CTT. So it will download it as what we call a CSV file. You just save that into Excel, which is what's required by the CTT. You don't need to rekey anything, reformat it, and then send that file back to the CTT. That should import just fine. but I will just export it as a normal export for this. And then if I just drag that onto the screen here, then that's the file that's created. So we can start to see that the individual numbers I've entered have all been sort of populated there. So the export is useful if you have got somewhere else that you want to send the results for your events after the event is over. So I just close that down. Okay. Right, so if I come out of that now, so that really is all I was going to show for managing events in ResultSheet. So the next part is really about event series. So if I select the menu from the left here, you can see there's a Manage Event Series option. I can select that. So I've created an event series for the purposes of this training. And what an event series is a way of being able to group events together and keep track of points competitions across the series itself. So when you set up an event, if I just show you what that looks like, if I just edit the event series details, so you give it a name, you give it a description, maybe describe the prizes from winning the series. The promoting club you enter here is normally your own. You can set the number of points for a win, the best of X events. So if you're maybe running a series of 10 events and it's a best of 5, then you would put 5 in there. They include riders less than 40-year-old in age-adjusted time series. What that does is if you are looking to have vets compete on the VTTA age-adjusted time result against younger riders on actual, that's what that is for. So it will enable you to blend age-adjusted time and actual times together, so that the vet type riders can compete with the younger type riders' times without you having to set up multiple series for each. And then the last bit is you can have an option to have an email sent to the person who created the series when the event series has been automatically updated. And the way this works is when you set the series up, when the event has had results put into it, the series is then updated overnight. So I will now show you what an event series looks like. So it's pretty straightforward. So in the event series, I've selected 3 events as part of the series. I've said it's 100 points for a win, and we can see that the various riders down the left-hand side and then the points they have scored over the course of the series. There's a number of filters at the bottom which play an important role. So the first thing is bike type again. So if you wanted to run a TT bike series and a road bike series, it will do that automatically for you. So if I only wanted to see the TT bikes, it obviously hides the road bikes. If I do the road bikes, you can see the road bikes. If I select those, it will do it regardless of bike type. And in terms of how what numbers you're looking at here, so this, what you're currently viewing is points scored on actual. You can also do it on age group. So if you win your age group, for this example, you would win 100 points. If you win on VTTA age adjusted time, you would score 100 points. If you won on, if you're a VTTA member and you won the age adjusted time for VTTA members, you can do members only as well. And then the classification is open or female. So if you only wanted to see the open results, you would select open, and the female results, just the females. And if I select that, it will then bring it back to the consolidated view. So the last part of the event series is the ability to share these. So what event series are great at is being able to promote your events in a very effective way. So again, if you're running an event series with, let's say, 10 events, and you're 2 events into the series, it's the best of 5, so that riders that have yet to ride any of the events could still be in with a chance of winning, then that is obviously quite motivational for riders. So each event series has a unique link, which is in the address bar at the top, or alternatively, there's a share option down here, which then gives you the option to share the link. So there's a kind of a basic copy link option here, where you can copy that and then push that out to social media. So as your event series is updated, then being able to push out updates to your website or your social media accounts to help with promotion becomes a really easy way to promote essentially all the events in your series in one go, rather than promote them individually. So event series are pretty useful. The last part of the piece is what we call club pages. So if I bring up the result sheet website, so what the result sheet website is really the hub now for all the activity that is occurring with inside result sheet. So looking across the menu at the top, so if I select events, so this is now looking at the live system. You can see the events that are running through result sheet. You can see historic events by looking backwards, or you can actually look into the future by changing the date there, or you can search for events by particular club. Event series that we just talked about, so this is where you would see the event series that are being run by the club. So you can see it's ordered by when the first event is in the series, and you can see the number of events in the series, the best of, and how many events remain. And the last bit is the club page. So if I just pick up a club search, and let's pick Banbury, this is an example. So every club in Result Sheet has a unique page. And what this page does, it brings together the various parts of all the Result Sheet activity onto a single page, and then gives it a unique link which doesn't change. So what this does is it helps, rather than having to duplicate results again. So let's say you run an event and you want to publish those results onto the website. You don't necessarily have to do that. You can just link to your club page in Result Sheet from your website. So you'd set the link up once, and then the rest is done for you. So everything is updated automatically. So you can link it to your website. You can put your contact email address, link it to your Facebook or Instagram account. You can upload your logo. If you upload your logo, it then appears on the events that you're running. And you can see the past events that have run. We can then view the future events that are coming. Banbury Star has got an event series running as well. And lastly, if I scroll down, we can see the riders who are part of the Banbury Star Cyclist Club and the events that they have been competing against as well, and how they've done. So the club page really is the way to bring everything together. In order to manage your club page, you just request to be the club admin. So you'd send a request in from the club page, and then we would then just approve that, at which point you can then upload your logo, etc. So that's the result sheet training. I hope you found that useful, and best of luck. And if you have any questions for us, then you can contact us via our website using the contact form at the top, or you can contact us via our Facebook account as well. Thanks for listening.